Okay, all
And we
set.
will call the excellent. We'll call the order here at 7:10. If you want to call the roll for attendance, please, Donna.
Absolutely. We have Justin Miramonte,
Present.
Tim Teagan,
Present.
Scott Bowman. I thought I saw Scott Bowman.
Uh,
Present.
yeah, he's
Okay,
present. Present.
I'm here. Andrew Duke,
Present.
Dana Carver, Jay Gillette,
Hello. Hi.
Tori Heinrich, Raphael Wolf,
Here.
John Jeskup, Larry Johnson,
Present.
Leah Daly, Angela Thornton,
Here.
Charles Essner.
Here.
Okay, Mike Saliba, Dave Franklin, I forgot to fill in. It's Paul Harris, right?
Jim Harris, James Harris.
I'm sorry, James Harris. He's absent, and Colin Fitzgerald.
I do not see Colin.
So, okay. Let me just quickly say Dana, Tori, John, Leah, Mike, Dave, Paul, and Colin are absent.
All right. Thank you for that. And can everyone see the agenda on their screen?
Yep.
All right. If there's any modifications to suggest, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I motion. I'll move.
Thank you. Does the motion have a second?
I'll second.
I will move, not motion.
All right. Any opposition to the approving the agenda as written? Hearing none, we'll continue. For myself, I don't have anything to report. Do any of my fellow officers have anything to report this evening?
I did just want to point out the media that Justin and I worked on getting through Central Michigan University about this race. So usually once they pick it up, maybe other local area will pick it up. They plan on covering the race very heavily, so it was great that he got in and had some great comments. So you can check Facebook for the link or see what a great job he did. So that's a positive for the party.
Thank you, Donna. And on that note, I do have Brianna's contact information. We'll be following up with her as we progress through the 35th district race. So thanks for touching on that. Tim, Scotty, Mr. Duke.
I don't believe I currently have anything to report on my behalf.
Nothing from me.
And Mr. Bowman.
Nothing to report.
Yeah, that will conclude the officer reports then. Genesee is meeting this evening to set their officer election dates, and our policy manual will be meeting on October 6th at 7 p.m. If you'd like to join the committee, please get in touch with Rich McLean. And at this time, we'll open the floor to member comments. If any members of the party would like to add their comments at this time, please raise your hand.
I want to remind everybody what a great job Justin did on getting on the radio, too. I heard him on WKER twice. He was interviewed on the open seats up in Genesee County. So he did a
What's the
great
name?
job, not only there, but
What's
also on public radio. So he was there, too.
what's the name of the station you heard it on?
WKAR. They are
WKAR
normally
in Genesee County?
no, it's hang on. No, it's Lansing. It's the East Lansing MSU station.
Oh, okay. So they picked it
Okay.
up from CMU. Okay.
Well, they did the interview. I think Sophia Salaby did an interview with or the other gal. I mean, I give them money. I've been listening to the station forever, and
Uh-huh.
they're just shamelessly progressive about stuff mostly. I listen for the music, but yeah, they had them on. It was great. It was not long, and she did say that we have never. The Libertarian Party has never actually elected anybody. It was kind of her last line. So it's like, thank you very much for that. But yeah, anyway,
Well, we
so
can follow up with her on that. It would be accurate to say we've never elected a state senator. Um, so we've never elected anyone to
lots of
that
things are
position,
accurate.
but we have elected several elected officials in the party. A couple on the call here tonight.
It is accurate, but
Um,
it wasn't necessary. That's all. So anyway, you get props, dude.
well, thank you, sir.
I mean it.
And I see Mr. Esther's hands up.
Yeah, thank you. Um, I just wanted to, as an announcement, say that the fundraising committee and the activism committee both met. We talked to Jordan, and there looks to be that they're working on organizing an event in Newaygo area to try and help fundraise and reach out to the community and hopefully recruit to help kick off possibly getting in a local affiliate there. So there's a potential. I don't have details at the moment from Jordan, but there's a potential that we might be able to assist in that. In which case, if we did assist, there would be if there is any fundraising done, there would be a split on that, along with that's on the fundraising side. On the activism side, there's discussion of wherever there's libertarian events that we help try and show libertarian policy in action, where we believe in assisting people through mutual aid or voluntary action versus the state. So if we're having an event over that way, we're going to look into seeing if there's somewhere like a food bank or a pregnancy center or a church or something that does outreach in the community where we could possibly not necessarily raise donations monetarily, but donations of articles, like you would do for like a can drive or something. So that's kind of something we're trying to do to also kind of get our name out if there's an event in the area. So just letting you know, as soon as I know more from Jordan, I'll let everyone know.
Thank you for that, Mr. Esther. And Scotty, go ahead.
You're muted, Scotty.
Yeah. I just was wondering why this. I thought all the meetings were supposed to be announced, and I didn't see. I mean, I got an email, but I didn't see this meeting posted on the website. I'm just wondering why it wasn't on the website.
It is on the website. It's under news meetings.
On the calendar?
Oh, on the calendar. I didn't put it on the calendar.
Yeah, that's where I would look for events, is on the calendar.
All right. Well, we will definitely address that as we move forward. We'll ensure that they do get posted in all the correct locations. Apologies for that, Scotty. I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. Was there anything else you had for us this time?
I wanted to mention that Jordan's on here, so he just let me know that apparently our contact in Newaygo is not really going to be able to muster anybody there, so we have to pivot on that. But he's here, he's online. He can probably talk more about it if now's a good time, because it was a fundraising idea that not going to work that way, I don't think so. But that's up to Jordan. Yeah.
Mr. Martin, the floor is yours if you'd like it.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Okay, I had to disconnect my headphones. So yes, I learned today that Dan has, which he's our main contact out there, that he has a golf tournament that day, so he will be co-opted. And there was a potential of him being able to get some of his cohorts to come out, but that doesn't look like it's going to pan out. So as Jay was saying, we're kind of pivoting on that one. As far as where it's inevitably going, I'm not sure. At some point, a Nuevo event will still happen, though. More than likely, it will be a during cold months or springtime sort of event at this point when people have less commitments.
Very well. Well, definitely feel free to coordinate with Charles as you guys move forward with that. And the LEC will be more than happy to support it. And I think that'll give us some time to go back to the drawing board and come up with a really solid plan for Nuevo.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Scotty, did you have anything further? I see your hand still up.
That's whatever. I left it up. I forget.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So with that, I don't see any other hands raised. We'll move on to our candidate Q&A. We have Miss Ali Sledz here this evening, seeking to become the 35th district candidate. And she is aware, and we discussed at our last meeting, that this is just an informal Q&A session, that ultimately the candidate will be selected at a convention, and we'll be discussing that convention later here this evening. So with that, I will turn the floor over to any board members who would like to start with asking Ms. Sledz some questions.
I guess my question would be how familiar you are with the party and with our platform and how you feel that you fit in that regard.
Okay, so hello everyone. I have been a voting member of the Libertarian Party since the 2012 election. Um, I lived in Georgia at the time and was actively um, working with the Georgia Libertarian Party. Um, I have been involved in multiple ways. I've stumped for different candidates. I talked to Justin earlier and worked in Cherokee County to help drum up support for Gary Johnson. Um, I have actively been like a part of the party since I was in my early 20s. So,
Okay. I don't want to ask all the questions, but I do have a lot if nobody else is going
fire
to.
away, fire away.
So, um, you mentioned when I talked to you that you thought you had a lot to bring to the party, and this sounds like your standard, quirky interview question, but
Right?
what do you think you could do to obviously helping grow the party is what we talked about. It's a long shot as far as winning the election, but there's always that chance. We've had that happen before. Um, so I just wondered if you had any specific ideas on how you as the candidate would help grow the party and represent the party.
So, I truly believe that there is a disconnect in the American population right now. Obviously, we all probably feel that way, between what people are actively trying to accomplish and what is being accomplished, right? Um, I think that our messaging needs to change. We need to become more, I don't want to say, I feel like we need to become more inclusive in our messaging to really get both sides to understand that there's a place for them, even if you don't agree with every single thing on our party, um, like in our party's like agenda, right? Like we have the potential to court people that maybe they just disagree with like one or two things on our platform. We can convince those people, and I can convince those people. Truly, I believe that. I, it sounds so silly, but politics is sales, right? Like selling your message. And I have worked in sales. I did that for a very long time, before I became a stay-at-home mom and started taking care of my kids. And I think I have the ability to talk to people and people like to talk to me too. I'm currently a counseling student, getting my master's in counseling. Uh, and I think that my ability to listen can also be a huge asset to this party.
Sounds
Thanks for
good.
that. So I'll chime in with a question or two here, and then I'll let you go ahead with some more, Donna. If you were to become our eventual candidate, how much time could you devote to the campaign?
So again, right now I'm a stay-at-home mom. Going to Oakland University to get my master's in counseling. Um, my kids are always going to be first, always. But outside of that, like this could be my full-time job.
Thanks for that. And then I do see a couple of hands up. We'll go with Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, I was going to ask, basically, what level of outreach are you willing to do? And there's a couple different things I wanted to point out here. One of them, for instance, is going door to door or even from home phone canvassing, where you're contacting people whose numbers you can get that live in the district and talking to people one-on-one. And then, of course, there's also like events such as candidate forums, meet the candidate nights, things of that nature. How much are you willing to devote to activities like those?
Again, I am willing to treat this as a full-time job. I love going door to door. I love meeting people. So that is something my husband and I even threw that around last week when we were kind of talking about whether or not this was something we wanted to pursue as a family. Um, and we both are very comfortable doing that. He has my back 100%, and both of us would be willing to undertake this full force, I guess you could say. Community outreach is important on every level. So I don't mind talking to people. I want to talk to constituents. I want to talk to people. I want to find out what their questions are. I want to debate them. I want them to see that maybe we're not as far away politically as you think we are. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I'm sorry. I let
That's
myself
okay.
get muted again
No
there. I was
worries.
looking at the chat. I was listening to everything you said, though. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you, Scotty. Ms. Thornton?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Ali. I have like two quick questions. What part of the district do you live in?
So I'm in Midland.
Okay.
So if you know Midland, it's separated Midland High and Dow High side. I'm on the Dow High side of Midland.
Okay. Second question is, have you identified any issues that you feel would appeal to the voters in your district? And how would you talk about how you want to change your messaging? Can you give us an example maybe of what kind of messaging you would approach that issue or those issues with?
Yes, so I do think that we are living in a time where people really feel that it's the government's job to take care of them. And I don't agree with that. And I think that we can explain to people that if we keep their tax dollars in their pocket, if you allow me to go to Congress or go to our state Senate, basically, right, and say, hey, I don't want any more taxes on my people. That money staying in their pocket is going to do more work for them than allowing the government to spend the money as they see fit. Because at the end of the day, the Michigan State Senate, Governor Whitmer, is not going to spend our money the way we know we need to spend it. So I really think talking to people about how much better for them we can help them spend their money. I guess like that's a really terrible way of explaining it, but I think we can get people to understand that they can spend their money better than we can, I guess is the long and short of it.
Thank you for that. And any other hands?
I did just see Raphael's bongos as the state instrument in the chat, and I love a good bongo, but I'm really partial to the pan flute personally, so maybe
It's humorous, but when you really pay attention to the legislature, they spend a lot of time on naming the state butterfly, the
They
state
do.
bird, the state this, the state that. It's like we have no other problems here in Michigan, but I digress. Um, so I had one other question, but I think Angela's question actually touched on it. So if there's no other questions, you mentioned Mr. Duke's hand just went up and Mr. Bowman's hand went up. So we'll let them both go first. Mr. Duke, the floor is yours.
Let me ask you a few quick, simple questions.
Okay.
First, have you run for office before?
I have never.
Are you involved in any local governance, such as an appointed position?
I am not.
When the news asks you, why not? How will you respond?
I have spent the last 14 years making sure that my children were raised in a way that I felt comfortable with. Just like many people in Michigan, we would have struggled to pay for childcare if both of us would have been at work. My entire paycheck would have gone towards childcare costs. So we made the decision as a family for me to stay home. Um, it didn't mean I wasn't actively taking part in understanding the world around me. It didn't mean that I wasn't actively learning. I am a lifelong avid learner. Um, I also have been involved in a lot of things for my kids. When we moved to Midland 2 years ago, prior to that, I was living in Grosse Pointe and I was involved in the PTO for my children's schools, both of the PTOs. I um, was on many committees that were actively saving different elementary schools in that community. And since we've moved up here, my husband deployed last year. So I was a single parent in a new city, and it was more beneficial for me to make sure I was taking care of my children in a new place.
One last
Hey,
question then.
go ahead, Andrew.
What makes you qualified to represent your area since you have recently moved in there?
Yes. So I did just move here, but my grandfather and great grandfather purchased land on Wixom Lake, which was part of the catastrophic dam failures that happened a few years ago, and had owned that since my father was a child. Um, I have been, and so my family is from the area. I have been actively coming up here and being involved in different things in Midland since I was a child. The fair, all of those fun things. I've always been partial to this area since my husband and I got the governments are a damn failure. You're right, Andy. Thank you for that. Sorry. Um,
That's good.
Midland has always just been special to me. This area has always been special to me. I have I had been actively campaigning with my husband to move up here since we got married 15 years ago, but it just had never worked out. And 2 years ago, it finally did. So it wasn't for lack of trying that we didn't live here. It was just not in the cards at the time.
Thanks again. And Mr. Gillot, I'll let you ask a question, and we'll come back to Mr. Bowman.
I mean, it might make sense for anybody, but would it be fair to say that kind of jumping in with us at this moment? I mean, sounds like you are a libertarian, but since you've not been involved, that as far as I know, up in Midland, it seems like we're a good way for you to kind of dip your toes into electoral politics, and I hope that's more going on than that. But have you ever been a Republican?
I have never been a Republican.
Okay, you passed that test.
No, I have never been Republican. The first election I was eligible to vote in was 2008, and I did vote for President Obama. But I was a child and was readily influenced, and once I started to do my own research, discovered that I wasn't really happy with either side. Much to my father's chagrin, the lifelong Republican, he was not thrilled with me.
Okay, thank you. Well,
And
I get it.
Scotty.
You got to start from someplace, and I mean, I'm hoping you would think that you would want to move into Republican politics, but we're a good place to dip your toes into being on a ballot in electoral politics. So, that should be much within that, I hope. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting in here. I actually, leading up to my real question, I now you sparked my curiosity when you mentioned Grosse Pointe, because I'm a graduate of Grosse Pointe South and I live in Detroit, right near Grosse Pointe. So I'm just curious, which of the points were you in?
I was in the woods.
Okay.
Yep, my house backed up to Mason Elementary.
Okay. Well, all right. Did you ever go to a Wayne County LP meeting?
I did not. My children at the time, I keep coming back to this. My kids have been my life for the last 15 years, and uh, I really jumped in headfirst to making sure that I saw a lot of things I wasn't happy with at the school level in Grosse Pointe. So instead of directing my time to the Libertarian Party, I directed my time to making sure that the education system was um, doing what it should be doing in the points.
All right. And I was wondering, I'm just want to kind of throw a question at you regarding state politics. So one question that's come up is actually, I don't know if you mind if there's no objection from the chair. I'd actually like to ask a couple kind of hard questions at the state level here. The first involves current legislation, and of the current legislation, there's this talk about trying to avert a government shutdown, which of course is kind of funny idea on its own. With some new bills getting passed, some budget bills, and one of them involves a 24% tax on marijuana. How would you be voting on that? How would you discuss the matter in trying to persuade your colleagues in the state legislature to take a position on
So I don't agree with the increase in the tax on marijuana. I find that it's just another way to regulate who can have access to it, because if you can't afford it, then you don't have access to it. So I don't necessarily agree with a increase in the taxes. And your other question about persuading my fellow senators. I think I would start by doing a lot of listening and listening to their reasoning. And what I have found that I'm very good at is once I hear somebody's reason, I can easily come up with a why not. Um, I truly believe that taxing anything at the rate that they want to tax marijuana is just, it's not sustainable in the long run. And again, where's that money going? Like if you're going to tax us 24%, where's it going? And I don't believe that we have done a good enough job in the state of Michigan proving that the tax dollars are going where they say they're going to go, and proving that the tax dollars are doing the most good for the most people.
Okay, and then I also had a follow-up. I'm sorry to kind of like jam in lots of questions, but
That's what this is for, right?
right. I just hope the other people on the line are getting frustrated with me. But I also am curious because now we're at a time when we have Trump and his minions are out trying to effectively occupy cities using either the National Guard or ICE. What, as a state legislature, what's your response to all that?
My politically correct response is that it is within our means as citizens of Michigan and the state of Michigan to actively protest those occupations to our full extent. I believe that the use of ICE in cities is disgusting. I believe that the use of federal troops to do the president's bidding is disgusting. And we have a right to stand up and say no, as the citizens of Chicago did.
Thank you.
Do you have anything further, Scotty?
Nope.
Mr. Saliba?
I was actually going to ask Scotty's last question, so I don't know what if there's a Michigan porn ban bill. What would you like to say about that?
I have feelings. At the end of the day, we're all adults. You're not allowed in my bedroom. I'm not allowed in yours. You're not allowed on my computer. I'm not allowed on yours. And as long as it is not actively harming anyone else, then it's nobody's business what I take in via media in my own home, whether I like what they're taking in or not. As long as no one is being harmed in the creation of it, it's none of my business.
Thanks again. And so I'm seeing no hands up. So let's say you were elected to the Senate or as you're campaigning, what would one or two of your first legislative priorities be?
So I really would like to go with the budget with a red pen, truly. Um, I would like to campaign on making sure my constituents aren't paying more taxes, aren't paying more for anything. This is the world we're in right now is making it impossible for anyone to have a family, for anyone to live. And I truly believe that by eliminating the fat, by eliminating the pork, like we can put money back in people's pockets and they can then spend it as they see fit. So that would be my number one priority.
And what would you identify as, I guess, not the fat?
So
We have some anarchists here that wouldn't think that would identify it all as fat. And so I'm just sort of trying to figure out where you would stand there.
can you repeat that, I guess?
We
Like
have
what?
anarchists within the party that would identify it all as fat.
Yes, yeah.
And then
I'm
minarchists that would
not
identify maybe a little less of it as
yeah,
fat. And so it's a general term.
yeah, I'm not an anarchist. I do believe that government does have a place in society, in a well-regulated society. But I think that the over-militarization of police forces, I think that um, much of, I know that a lot of people don't want to hear it, but maybe much of the education budget maybe doesn't need to be cut, but needs to be reworked. Um, there are things like the fix the roads, like how? What are we doing? I want more concrete evidence of how you're doing that. I want to know why we're paying the amount of money we're paying for different services throughout the state that aren't being utilized. Like that, those are the things I want to attack. I'm not a person that's going to be like, privatize every road and you know, but I do believe on some level that we should have control over where our tax dollars go. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Sort of giving people a chance to formulate any additional questions while I think over a couple for myself here. All right, seeing none. So over the past year, we've done a lot of work extending coalitions and supporting homeschool families across Michigan. And you mentioned education. You might not be the first thing you want to cut. I'm sure a lot of us would like to see just about everything cut. But it is a bit of an uphill battle with that one. And so I can certainly understand that might not be the first thing you want to push on. But how would you go about supporting the homeschool families alongside with that? Do you feel like they should have to pay for public school taxes?
So I really don't um believe that they necessarily should. I know that that is a long shot to ever get approved or passed or even on anybody else's radar. Um, but for instance, my sister homeschools. Um, that was a better situation for her daughter. And what she pays in homeschooling materials is wild for quality homeschool materials. So if she could keep some of her own tax money that would then go to her school, like maybe then it becomes more feasible for her. Maybe it becomes more feasible for families to do this. I do believe that the push for homeschooling is a good one. I do, however, believe that we need to address why people don't homeschool, right? The if we're going to create public schools as just childcare, then maybe we need to attack this issue from a different angle. I see your question, Tommy. I don't believe that homeschoolers should have to register with the state.
And then you mentioned St. Clair. You used to live there, St. Clair Shores?
Grosse Pointe, but yes, right on the
Grosse
cusp
Pointe.
there. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so I was just aware that there are several vacant public school buildings that the city does not want to sell because they don't want the charter schools to go in or any sort of competition of any private school to go in. Just curious what you feel about governments holding on to property like that.
I don't I feel very strongly that all of those buildings should have been sold if you're going to close the schools and deny the public school children the resources of those schools, then sell them and get rid of the carrying cost. Grosse Pointe's paying an insane amount right now in taxes to hold on to Trombley Elementary, and they have no plans of developing it, not that I know of at least. Again, I'm not fully versed in their politics anymore because I'm up here.
Mhm.
Um, but I do believe that at that point it becomes um, holding on to property for gain, and why does the school district need to hold on to property for monetary gain, I guess.
Thanks
Um,
for that.
do you
Oh, go
mind if
ahead.
I answer Michelle's question in the chat?
Not at all. Go right ahead.
So Michelle, I did not agree with lockdowns. If parents wanted to send their children to school, then awesome. If they didn't, then they shouldn't. Like the lockdowns for everyone were silly. The government had no right to do what they did. That's my stance on it. Public schools, they're public schools. They need a shakeup. They need a top-down change. Um, we need to stop regulating them at the federal level. We need to allow individual districts more control over their own schools. Um, but again, I'm one person and I can raise my voice and I can fight and hopefully someone else listens and hears and fights with me. But that's my feeling on that. I know I guess I need more direct questions. Your last question is pretty vague. Um, I do understand what is going on with the budget right now. I do understand that we are facing a lockdown due to the inability of either party to come to an agreement, which is their entire purpose. Um, so yeah. And Raphael about gun violence. At the end of the day, I am a constitutionalist when it comes to pretty much every issue on the ballot. Gun violence is unfortunately part of our society. I am again a student of counseling. I believe that we have a mental health crisis in the United States, and it's not a gun issue. Guns don't kill people on their own. They can't. Um, we have eliminated all the ways in which people can be permanently helped through um, the elimination of different hospitals and things that were dedicated just to mental health. And yes, those places were not great places to be, but there has to be another option. We can't just eliminate things completely without other options, or we get what's happening right now with mass shootings every week. So unfortunately, um, to maintain any level of control over our own society, the citizenry has to be armed. That's reality. Um, the flight of young people to other states. That is a great question. Um, hmm. So I was just reading some articles about what kind of jobs will be of importance as AI takes over the world, and industries in which people are face to face and that deal with empathy and helping and care, like all those things, hospitals, mental health workers, those things are always going to be a priority. I think that if we start to market ourselves as being able to turn out the best versions of those helping professions, then maybe we entice people to stay. Michigan needs a shakeup. We are no longer a manufacturing hub. We need to figure out how to do that. We need to figure out how to come into this next era in an appropriate way that keeps people working here in Michigan.
And Mr. Teagan.
Yeah, quick question.
Mhm.
I don't know if you are aware, Michigan is one of the biggest states on militias across the country. And if you've seen our reputation on that in the past 5 years, our current state government has a bad issue of calling us just blatant terrorists and arresting us as such. If big protests come back and militia activity increases again, are you willing to speak well on their behalf as long as they're following by the constitutional guidelines?
I think that Americans have every right to participate in militias as long as they are like operating within the law, right? And if anybody is being treated in an unconstitutional way, then it is all of our job to speak up and raise our voices and say that that's wrong. So, yes, if the militias were being treated unconstitutionally and being unconstitutionally reprimanded or treated, then yes, of course, I would stand up and say this is wrong.
All right, thank you.
Angela, I see your question about the roads, and you're right. We do, we are the party of roads, right? Um, I really think that we need to figure out a better system. Like we do need roads for sure. But states like Ohio that have privatized some of their roads have done a better job of taking care of them. Not that Ohio should be good at anything because it's Ohio, but it is what it is. Um, states like Georgia, I lived in Georgia for a long time. States like Georgia, they get their road construction done in a much more timely fashion. What are we doing? Why are our roads taking years when Ohio or when Georgia can build miles and miles of new interstate in a couple months? Like what? So that's a big problem. I do agree. I see Andy, your stop the gas tax. Agreed. We have an insanely high gas tax for no reason. And again, making it impossible for Michiganders to stay here. That's why we're fleeing, right? That's why Michiganders leave. We can't afford to live here. Cost of living is better other places. Tennessee, yes, I see Tennessee. Lower taxes, it's cheaper to live there. Totally awesome. Michigan is a great place to live, though. So if we can start using what these other states have done well and making that quality of life and cost of living meet somewhere in the middle, we could do great things.
Excellent. Thanks for that. And It looks like the questions are winding down here. You mentioned earlier being a candidate is a lot about sales. Why don't you just take a couple minutes here and sell yourself to the board?
You're gonna make a millennial talk about herself? No, I'm kidding. Um, so I know what we need. I know what we need, and I know that we can come to some sort of agreement on how to get there. I think we all agree we need to pay less taxes. I think we all agree we need more freedom. We can get there. You gotta let me cook, as the youngins would say. You gotta let me cook. I can do this. I can get the Libertarian Party where they need to go in Michigan. Truly, I can. I believe that 100%. I just, my record alone, I am a graduate of Central Michigan University. I am well acquainted with the area. I graduated summa cum laude. I got into one of the best counseling schools in the country. Oakland University is a great counseling school. I'm regularly top of my class. I know how to talk to people. I like people. I like the problem. So I think that what I have to offer you is worth it if you're willing to help me, because I can't do it by myself.
Okay, so is this like you sound like you want to keep doing this. Is this going to be something you're going to keep doing? I mean, this is your first time, right?
Running
You going to
for
keep doing
office
this?
is
Or you
running
just
for
want to give
office
it a shot?
something running for office something I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah.
So truly, I don't know, Jay. I don't know.
Good job looking at all of our names, dear.
Um, I I genuinely want to, but my passion is helping people. I got into counseling because I love it. I love sitting and listening to people and working through and finding solutions that make sense for an individual.
So can I just say it sounds like your value also might be highly as an active person in the party in your local affiliate, involved in
Absolutely.
what's going on.
Absolutely. And that is something that I was also willing to talk about. If I'm not the candidate for the 35th,
You can do
no
both.
harm, no foul. I do not care. I just want us to have someone strong put forward. I do want to get involved and grow the 35th's um, party position. Like we need more people. Midland has a county fair every year. The Democrats are represented, the Republicans are represented. There is not a libertarian table to be found. I'll sit at that table for the whole week. I will talk to people all week. I will talk to the old farmers. I will talk to the young people. I will talk to everyone. I just have to have the backing. I just have to have someone saying, it's fine, go do it.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for your time this evening, Ali. I think we all got a much better idea of where you're coming from, and we'll definitely be in touch here soon in the near future as we're moving forward with the candidate nominating convention. You're welcome to remain on the call, but I think that'll do it for the Q&A portion of things.
Awesome. I do have to put my children to bed, but it was lovely talking to all of you and meeting you. I am very interested in staying involved, even if I am not the choice for the 35th. But it was lovely to meet you all, and thanks for challenging my brain on a Sunday night. I loved it.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again for coming out tonight and answering all our questions. And again, we'll definitely be in touch soon.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.
All right. So we will need to have a convention to nominate this candidate. We kind of opened this conversation via email, and the conversation had discussed the possibility of combining this with the National Delegate Selection Convention. I'm just going to open the floor to board members. We can all raise our hands and just sort of discuss how we would best prefer to handle this.
What do you mean national delegate selection? What are you talking about?
We could simultaneously nominate this candidate at the same event that we are selecting candidates to the convention in Grand Rapids.
Oh, in the future.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So there will need to be a Kim. So to clarify, there will need to be a convention of the members of the 35th district. That convention will, or that session of the convention would be chaired by Mr. Teagan. I believe the vice chair gavel goes, transitions to myself in that role. And that's because they reside in an unaffiliated area. And so the members of that district get to vote on who the ultimate candidate is. At this time, we don't have a plethora of members in the district. So we could either hold a rather small function akin to an affiliate meeting in terms of size and scope, find a restaurant with a room we could rent, and hold it just for the candidate. Or we could combine it with the National Delegate Selection Convention, as long as it was all held within the dates specified in the email there. We can get into that if we want to combine the two. So the benefits of combining the function would be the reduced cost of the party, and it would allow our candidate to move forward with perhaps a bigger send off into the election than we could potentially give them if it was just a smaller event. And so now I do see several hands up, and we'll go with the order that they're on my screen. So Donna, the floor is yours.
I like the idea of combining the conventions and having them as early as possible. And you mentioned convention fatigue, and I was thinking of if we had a candidate, which I think we do have a pretty good option, of holding it before the snow flies and then holding our candidate commit thing after the snow flies, and then you still have 2 months before the national convention. So, because we're talking about 4 total conventions, including national, in the next several months. If you combine two of them, that would make 3. And the national one's already set up, so we only have control of 2. And just thinking of spacing, I don't know. As a candidate, I was always really frustrated to have our convention so late in the season and pay top dollar and have summer vacations in a row. I know it's never good for everyone, but I guess I would like to think in terms of all 3 as we're planning this and timing it. But
well, I definitely would be open to an earlier candidate nominated convention. I have not personally, perhaps Mr. Bowman has, had the time to look into the Michigan MCLs that are referenced in our bylaws to see what the earliest possible date of holding that candidate nominated convention is. Once we figure out what that date is, then we can have a more cohesive plan for all conventions. But for tonight, I think it'd be better to confine the discussion to just the 35th and potentially the national delegate selection.
So I guess how I saw it as related is the earlier we have a combined convention, the less convention fatigue there will be come spring. You know what I'm saying? Like you're either going to end up with it in the middle of winter, or you're going to try to do it really we have to do it by February, right? So
yes. Yes. So Mr.
anyway,
Duke.
that's my 2 cents.
First, am I remembering correctly that we have to do this in person?
Yes.
That answers someone's question in the chat. Secondly, I'm in support of combining this with our national delegate selection. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Duke. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, I also support combining these 2 events. I think the biggest consideration is attempting it to get it done before we get into the middle of winter, which probably means sometime in early January. Although we might want to also consider placing it equidistant between Thanksgiving and Christmas, although that does make for a very short 10-week timeline to plan a convention.
It's a shortened timeline, and unfortunately, in that particular window of the calendar, I would not likely be able to attend between Thanksgiving and Christmas. The earliest potential, based on the bylaws as well as my availability, would be following Christmas or early January. Now, that being said, Mr. Teagan could obviously chair such a convention, but just something to bear in mind as we're considering dates. And then Donna and Andrew, were your hands still up from earlier?
No, mine are done. I'm done. Sorry.
Right. So if it seems like everyone's in favor of combining them, which means that yes, we do have the 60-day call to convention to concern ourselves with. And we'll probably want to go about setting up a date here rather quickly. That being said, it would probably be in order to consider formulating a convention committee. So do I hear a motion to do so?
I'll make that motion to form a convention committee of, do we have to specify 3 members?
We don't have to specify the number of members unless we want to fix a maximum. The chair, under our bylaws at least, has purview to add their members of their committee. So we could fix a maximum size. I think 3 is a bit small, but perhaps more than 5 could become a bit unwieldy. That being said,
if Andrew says 5, I'll second it.
Motion to form a convention committee of no more than 5 members.
Second.
All right. And that motion has been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed. Mr. Essner, I see your hand just popped up there.
Yeah, I'm gonna obviously speaking to it, but I also would like to say that we don't assign members until the next normal LEC meeting, since there's people missing, so that we can get people notice that we're doing it.
Certainly, yes, we can issue a notice that at our next regular meeting we will be formulating a convention committee. But let's go ahead and look at the dates there and see where that puts us. Give me a moment. So our regular meeting is going to come on the 12th of October, and we have to issue a 60-day notice to all affiliates.
So if we're doing it sometime in January, we would need to make notice sometime in November.
Yes, yeah, we'll want to most likely try and get the date set rather quickly thereafter our meeting. There will be some, if we do combine the 2 events as we're discussing, some conditions that the committee will have to conform with so that we are in compliance with the candidate nomination election laws. Namely, that it will have to take place within the 35th district, and it will have to transpire within the month of January, as we've discussed. So that being said, we want to tentatively look into weekends here?
I think the weekend, the 3rd and 4th would probably be kind of a recovery weekend from the New Year's.
I would tend to agree. I'd say the 10th and 11th or the 17th and 18th would probably be target dates if you wanted to keep it early in January. All right, so seeing no discussion, we will go to a vote on the motion to form a convention committee. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion passes. All right, and we want to forego assembling this committee on any measure until the next meeting, if I understood correctly. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Did we set a date? Did I miss
We
something?
did not. We did not set a date. We were just discussing possible dates at this point.
Okay.
So, following this meeting, we'll want to send out a notice that we will be forming a convention committee, and that convention will be for the candidate nomination of the 35th State Senate District, as well as the national delegate selection.
Yeah. Can Justin, can in that notice that you send out that we're forming committee, could you just for time's sake put in a couple of potential dates just so people have an idea of the timing that we're talking about?
So are we
could just
saying the
include
committee chooses?
window. Go ahead.
I'm not saying choose. I'm just saying if in the notice in the notice that we send out, like what I don't want to do is next meeting we say, oh, we're going to form a committee, and then next meeting say, hey, we have like potential dates when we kind of already know roughly the dates. Like we're not setting them in stone, but just to let people know, because there's a lot of people that are missing today, and I just want to make sure that they are aware of like.
Certainly, yes, they can certainly be made aware of that.
Yeah, just make people aware. I'm not saying set dates or say this is the proposed dates. Just make people aware of roughly the time period.
So am I
So what is-
understanding that we are going, I'm sorry, because for the minutes, I want to get this right. Am I understanding we are going to let the committee choose the dates? And then we're going to
Yes.
send out 60-day notice?
Okay.
believe-
So let me back up and address Charles's concern first. So when we send out this letter, we can certainly include the range of dates and how this narrows the scope of the convention that we are calling, meaning that the convention will have to be held before February 3rd and that it will need to be held within the 35th district. So does that allay your concerns there, Charles?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, just to make sure
Okay.
people are aware
All
of
right.
that.
And then Donna, refresh my memory. What were your concerns there?
So we're gonna wait until we form a committee before we send out official convention notice. How is that timing going to work out? We're gonna then we're gonna wait for the committee to meet. We're gonna wait for them to choose a date, and then we're gonna send out the 60-day notice. I'm just trying to figure out.
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I believe traditionally the board has voted on the date of the committee. The committee does not decide.
That's what I would like to see.
So
Anyway,
that would most likely be chosen at our next meeting also.
All right. Yeah. So we will include that notice in the notice for our next regular meeting that we will
okay.
be selecting a date for the convention. But we did kind of get ahead of ourselves. I'll come
Okay.
back to you in a moment, Mr. Bowman. Do I hear a motion to combine these two conventions?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Do we have any discussion on this before we proceed to a vote on the matter? Scotty and Andrew, you have your hands up? I'll go Scotty first.
Why?
Oh, well, my hand was already up before that motion. I don't know if I should wait until this motion's voted on and discussed before going back to my original question.
We'll come back to you then, Scotty. Yeah, we'll keep this on topic for the motion. Andrew?
Again, I support this motion. I would also like to say this will be a great opportunity to attract people for forming a new affiliate.
Oh yeah,
I tend to agree.
the Genesee affiliate. Oh.
All right. So seeing no other discussion here, we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of combining the National Delegate Selection Convention with the nomination for the 35th State Senate District, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Motion passes without opposition. All right, Scotty, I will return the floor to you.
Yes, I believe that it would be appropriate to have a tentative committee set up, at least if we could get put out the notice that we're already looking to form the committee by the conclusion of this meeting, for the simple reason that somebody's going to be in need of searching for venues, and that may in fact drive which date we hold the convention on. That if it turns out like, on one date, yeah, no problem, we can get a location reserved that's reasonably priced, and on another date we can't, then obviously, we're going to pick the date where a reasonably priced location would be obtainable. So that's my thought.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think what we'll do is we will include in the notice that this committee will be looking to meet soon after the first meeting. And perhaps we want to go as far as to set a date for that meeting, just to ensure it takes place in a timely fashion. And then the convention committee will always have the ability to request from me or the rest of the board for us to call a special meeting so that we could issue that call to convention immediately. I see Larry's hand just popped up. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. We definitely need to put out a notice asking for members of this committee, because we have traditionally accepted people from outside the board to sit on these committees. In addition to which, we recently had a board that liked to do a lot of things behind the curtains, and we don't want to be that board. So I think there's not too much work that we can do now until we get a committee started. Although if someone wanted to take the task of at least inquiring about venues in the area, I don't think that would hurt. Although it would be, we wouldn't be making any official offers or anything at that point, because there's always contracts that have to be approved and stuff like that when we pick a venue.
I can begin investigating possible venues and make a presentation to the committee. They wouldn't necessarily have to listen to any of it, but I would certainly look into some possibilities in the area so they don't have to start from scratch there.
Yeah, we can also get some input from some of the local folks that we know are active. They might have some ideas of what's available.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll definitely look into doing that outreach here in the next couple of days. I don't see any other hands up at this point.
We will need to handle credentials also at some point.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Credentials.
Yes. Yes.
So we need to consult with that.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Jeff. He and I have to touch base on a few matters still. And as soon as we're able to do that, we can get the credentialing process moving forward and seek some volunteers for that committee as well.
Do we want to seek this volunteers in time for our next regular meeting also? In other words, put out the call for both committees?
We could certainly do so. Is that a motion to do so?
I will make a motion that we also put the creation of the Credentials Committee on our next agenda and put out a call to members to participate in the Credentials Committee.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition? Motion passes. All right. And anything else before we move on to our next order of business?
Just as a point of information, we're probably going to want to consult with Jamie and possibly Mr. Molman, because with our transition from Civi to our new database, our credentialing might be a little tricky for this convention.
We will definitely want to make sure we try and cross all our T's and dot all our I's as we're getting into the lead up to that. But definitely, Jamie, Jeff, and I will all be meeting here in the next week or two to do exactly that. Here. All right, we'll move on then. There was a reimbursement of convention expenses that got overlooked due to email issues.
Wait, did we vote on Larry's motion to create the Credentials Committee?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did, and it passed without objection.
Oh, okay.
Unless I'm mistaken.
I don't know. I missed it, but that's fine.
You're correct, Justin.
All right, thank you. Um, all right, so we did have some outstanding convention expenses that were needing reimbursement here, and there was a bit of confusion due to the email. I've put it up on the screen here. This would be a motion to reimburse Trevor Stepp for $578 for the paperwork for this previous convention that he paid out of pocket. So there's some stapling, binding, and lamination services that were included. Does this
So
motion have a second?
Second.
All right, the floor is open for discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of approving this reimbursement in the number of $578, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? The motion passes. We are now at open floor. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add this evening?
I just have nah, never mind. I should have done during announcements. Never mind.
Very well. Anybody else?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed to adjournment? Meeting is adjourned at 8:21. Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful meeting.
So,
Good job.
Justin, I just wanted to just express some frustration. That email where Scotty was querying about the interview and the meeting, that link you included, the time said 7:30. That's what is on the website. This agenda says 7 o'clock, call to
Ooh.
order. So, I would suggest, I have no problem putting items on the website, but beyond the regular scheduled meeting, if you want me to do it, please send me the Zoom link and time and all of that soon versus later, or have the secretary do the special meetings, the events for the special meetings.
Yeah, you should
I
have
don't
gotten
want
that
to
when I
be.
went to leadership. But I think that might not have been set up yet when that first notice was sent out, Jamie. And so that's why you
Okay.
didn't get the Zoom link when you should have. So I apologize for that.
Okay.
Quick question. Do we want to put do you want that also for like committees? Or if there's a way for me to enter it in, I don't have a problem, but
I can, if the committee gives me the information in a timely fashion. If you, as a committee chair, would like to do that, I can certainly ensure that you have the editor rights, which would allow you to create events and manage them if you don't already.
I think I do. I just haven't done it. So. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that same page.
All
No
right. Yeah, if
worries.
you have any questions on how to go about that, either reach out to Jamie or myself, Charles. But yeah, the main concern I would have there is just making sure that it gets done properly, because it can be a little confusing.
Yeah. One
But,
question is there, Jamie, is there a way to put Civi into a test mode so I can just like mess around,
Nope,
for example?
nope, unfortunately.
Darn. Okay. I've been testing on myself as far as like sending emails through Civi, so I normally just include myself as the person to email and do test. Okay. All right. I just wondered.
It would be nice, but no, we have only a production instance.
No problem.
Charles, you can include me on your test emails if you want to. I'll help.
If I have anything I need to include, yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it just to see, because like there's some things in Civi when I do like searches and stuff, I can find myself, but my brother who has the same same address and basically the same name other than the first name, I can't find him, which is kind of funny, I find. So
Charles, reach out to me and I'll just do a short session with you and we'll see what's going on there.
yeah, I haven't looked in probably the last 2 weeks, so there might have been something that changed. So it's weird.
I'm guessing you could have gotten merged.
No, they do have distinct records. It's a permissions thing, so we just need to verify that your permissions are set properly and that he is a member of the appropriate affiliate.
I see. Alrighty. Anyway, good meeting, guys. That was a good stuff.
All right.
So
Good deal. Gonna stop the recording.
all right.